Hey everyone, how's it going? I know it's been a while since you heard from me directly on YouTube, but that'll be changing soon. I'm going to become active once again, and I'm going to try to do everything live. That way you have live recordings and, well, you have the live presentation and recordings. And if you have the time or if you choose to, you can participate live and ask me questions. And that way not everything is just a recording. So before we get there, though, I did get a question from someone asking me how I set up my trading view and how I navigate and flow through the different views. So I thought that was an interesting question. Not everyone uses TradingView, but I think a good number of people do. So I thought I'd go ahead and make this video and show you guys how I do that. So over here, what you see is one of my main views. This is what I often use to look at charts. It's usually my default view. It has my favorite way of looking at the charts, and the way this one is set up is, as you can see, it's four different charts that are all looking at the same stock. So if I change the ticker on one, it changes it on all of them. And what's interesting here is that this one is on a 1 month time frame. All the rest are on a daily time frame. So I have mixed time frames here as well. The way that we do that is, let me go ahead and make a new layout over here. When I make a new layout, then I can decide how I want the grid to show up. So if I want to see 2 different ways of viewing it, 3, 4, 5, 10, 16, it just depends on how many different ways that you want to look at something. Now on a screen, I think anything beyond 6 is probably a little too cluttered if you have a wide screen like I do, or probably only 4 if you have a normal screen. So I would choose one of these layouts over here. I don't like things too cluttered. And in the case of what I just had, I chose a layout with 1 big one on top and 3 small ones at the bottom. If I want to pick one to have a different time frame, I just have to go up here and go to my layout setups and just make sure that my symbols are synchronized, so that if I change one, they all change, but my intervals do not, or my times do not. I may want to keep my date range synchronized so that if I move things around, they all move around. That way I'm always looking at everything in the same time frame. But the way that I just did it, I don't have the interval synchronized. So I could, for example, if I wanted to, I could make this monthly, and then I can make this weekly, and then maybe I'll make this hourly. And then my main view remains on daily. It's just really up to you. And then you set up all of your indicators the way that you like to view everything, and just go ahead and save that, and then it'll stay that way. After you do that, then you can set up your multiple views. So for example, I'll just get rid of that. This is my default view for the most part. Then I have another way of viewing. This helps me with trends a little bit. This is another way of helping me with trends. And then this is my Maverick system. So I have these different layouts that I can just go up to the top corner and open up the layout that I want, or I can have them on separate tabs like you see right here. Now, how does that interact with watch lists? Watch lists are independent of your charts. So over here, you click and you just create your watch list. I have a positions watch list, or ones that I like to look at every day, even if I'm not in their position. Then I have those Maverick pre-approved longs. I have whatever lists that I want to look at. Ones that I think are moving, ones that have weekly options, whatever it is that I want to look at. And now if I click on any of the ones in my watch list, then that will just pop up the chart onto my screen over here. So it doesn't matter over here. It's the same thing. I can have the exact same positions watch list, and it'll pop over onto the left-hand side. And if I have the symbol synchronized across the different various charts on my screen, then those will change at the same time. So the idea of the watch list is not married to a layout. You can use a watch list across many layouts. They're not tied together. So if you want to see, hey, on this one, I always look at X watch list, my positions watch list, then you just have your positions open and then you just open it right there. You don't have to have the same watch list open on every single chart when you have it separate on separate tabs. So now this one has the positions watch list. This one has the Maverick pre-approved shorts watch list. And you can just keep them separate that way. Now, unfortunately, TradingView, the way that it scans, is not connected in any way. So if I run through and I say, hey, I want to look for the Maverick longs today, then I would set up my scan to look up those Maverick longs, and I would scan. Then I get the whole list of the ones that are firing that are on the Maverick pre-approved longs. But unfortunately, if I click, nothing happens in terms of a chart, and we don't have a chart on the screen, so it's not going to populate anything. So unfortunately, what I need to do in this case is I need to split my screen if I want to see them both. And then I would have my Pine screener over here, my watch list or my charts over here. And then I have to manually, I can't just click and have it populate. I would have to just go one by one, go AMT. How does that look? Do I like it? Dell, how does that look? Do I like it? GEN, how does that look? How do I like it? If I'm using the Maverick screener, then I probably want to use my Maverick chart. That would make sense, but it does not do me too much good to look at it in other views unless you're super familiar with what it's looking for. So that's how everything is set up. That's how I flow through everything. And generally, I'm just moving through the charts. Depending on how I want to see something, I will move through the charts. So for example, let's just say I find something interesting here. Let's just take a quick look. Maybe I'll find something interesting here. NUE, maybe. PEG, not really. Well tower, a little too flat. LMT, nope. Hyatt, nope. There's not going to be a lot in this market that I'm super interested in just because there's so much chop sideways and there's a risk to a small downside pullback right now. So I would say Dell maybe okay. It just broke above its MA 200. It's looking pretty strong, like the potential to get strong, but the market could take the wind out of its sails. So let's just say I'm interested in Dell. I like it on Maverick, and then I want to check it out on something like this. Just see what its trend is looking like. Then I can just move across all my different views to see how I like that. Now this is a little less compelling on this viewpoint because we're seeing it more of a downtrend, like a counter trend move to a resistance point. So now that tells me, okay, if I want to take this, I probably don't want to take it very long term. And Maverick's not super long term anyways, but I probably want to limit my expectation as to how high that it can go. And then I could go over here and look at it at my normal view as well and just get a good idea. Like the things that I like to look at personally, I have a few moving averages and an Anchor VWAPs, and that's just about it. And I have a few extra things right here, but usually my eyes are up here. I just look at this right here. I almost never look down here. So, and if you wanted to do what I just did, I just hold down Alt and then click, and that expands this particular chart right here. And just say if for whatever reason, I wanted to look at it more like this, then I can do that also and fairly quickly move between views. So that's another reason why you might want to set up multiple charts like this on one screen, because then you can just alt click, and expand and go back down. Of course, it doesn't make sense for me. You see, I have these three I want to look at together. These I want to look at together. So if I threw Maverick on here, it might get really cluttered and look really weird. But that's really up to you how you want to organize things. So that's how I flow through things. That's how I use the different aspects of TradingView, the charting, the watch list, the scanning, and they're all separate concepts in TradingView. Although the watch list will connect to each chart, but unfortunately the scanner does not.